We'd now like to welcome for our armchair conversation, please welcome Hank Rogers and Melissa Miyashiro of the Blue Planet Foundation, and their topic will be, it will be done, 100% renewable by 2045. I believe Melissa will start with her presentation and then to be followed by Hank. Thank you.
Hawaii is our home. But our home is changing.
Breaking news on Kauai tonight, devastating flooding.
Widespread damage. Homes on the verge of collapsing.
The world is changing.
The largest wildfires in the state of California.
Tonight, the rain is over, but the disaster is not.
I worry sometimes when I think about my future. What will it be like when I grow up? Would it be like what my parents remember? Climate change scares me. But we know that it doesn't have to be this way. We can change. That's why I'm grateful for Blue Planet Foundation. For the past 10 years, Blue Planet has been leading the way for clean energy. They think if we can do it in Hawaii, we can show the entire world what a clean energy future looks like. They brought together hundreds of students just like me to be a part of the change.
Say now, win! Win! All right, now everybody get two sides. Everyone get together, make your voice heard, make your future happen.
They joined their families and neighbors to draw the line on climate change.
Our voices really matter, and us being here today is showing something and showcasing to the world that we really care about this issue and we want to take a stand.
And in 2015, their efforts paid off when Hawaii passed our country's first 100% renewable energy law. It's nice to know when I grow up, all our energy will come from clean sources. And now Blue Planet is growing. The Repower Project is working to bring Hawaii's 100% renewable energy law to other states. Now Blue Planet is active every day, making this change happen. They are in our classrooms and in our communities. We still have a long way to go. We have a lot of work to do. I'm excited about the new future we are creating. We can help solve our climate crisis, starting in Hawaii, and we'll inspire the world. But we can't do it alone. Will you help? For my future.
Aloha, everyone. You just heard from Mia, who is a 7-year-old from Hawaii. Mia's message is one of urgency, of hope, and of thinking big. At Blue Planet Foundation, we really believe in the power of big ideas. I am Melissa Miyashiro, Managing Director at Blue Planet Foundation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit committed to clearing the path for 100% clean energy, starting in Hawaii and then for the globe. As humanity, we are facing a challenge that is going to require unprecedented leadership, saving our planet and civilization from the worst impacts of climate change. And as Mia shared, we really believe that Hawaii can lead the way. We are the perfect living laboratory and test bed for that clean energy future. Many know that Hawaii has abundant renewable energy resources, but up until just a few years ago, we actually had no long-term vision to kick our addiction to imported oil. And as a mission-driven nonprofit, we decided that this wasn't good enough, and we wanted to set a vision for where we wanted to go. So we proposed 100% renewable energy. No state had done it, and we wanted to make Hawaii the first. Like any big idea, everyone said it was impossible. The utility said it was physically impossible and that it would cost a fortune. The governor at the time actually called us magical thinkers and said, this is just Harry Potter stuff. You can't just wave a wand and then make these things happen. But nonetheless, we launched a grassroots campaign beginning in 2013, and we involved hundreds of students from across the state. They actually drew illustrations of the future that they wanted to see and delivered those drawings to lawmakers. We also engaged business executives, community leaders, and labor unions behind the effort. And in 2015, we succeeded, and Hawaii became the first state to set a goal for 100% renewable energy by 2045. And this isn't purely an aspirational goal, it's actually a binding target that's tied to financial penalties. But what's more remarkable than setting the goal itself was what happened after. We saw a complete transformation in the conversation around our energy future. The goal went from being impossible to improbable, and then now inevitable, with the electric utility changing their vision statement to embrace 100%. And the utility now estimates that they can get to 100% 5 years ahead of schedule and at a cost that's billions less than business as usual. So the utility was forced to look at 100% and found that they could get there faster and cheaper. Now, Blue Planet Foundation is focused on strategically and systematically ensuring that Hawaii reaches its clean energy goals, and we're helping other states that want to set 100% targets. In 2017, we launched Project Repower, a network of lawmakers that are ready to pass 100% targets in their states. In that year, we hosted a workshop in Hawaii with legislators from 8 states, and they got together and identified needs across states. They mapped influence of various stakeholders, and then also built a high-level roadmap for passing 100% targets. And of all the states that participated, all but one introduced a 100% bill in their state, and a third of them have since passed 100% targets in their state. In the next 2 to 3 years, Blue Planet Foundation has big ideas and is hoping to scale this effort in big ways. We are launching a yearly cohort of lawmakers that will work with us, that will work with each other, that will work with local stakeholders and industry experts to pass bold clean energy targets. We are also building out an equity and access toolkit because equity emerged as the #1 concern in messaging and policy design in passing 100% targets. And finally, we're launching learning excursions in Hawaii so that decision makers can come and actually see this living laboratory in action. So visiting renewable energy sites, meeting with legislators and regulators, and then also with frontline groups on the ground that are bringing this vision to life. We're exploring a similar model and network for regulators because there's a lot of incredible and visionary thinking that's coming out of public utilities commissions across the country, and we want to seize that and leverage that and build that even further. Our Project Repower really puts Blue Planet Foundation's theory of change into action. We seek to make Hawaii a model for clean energy progress so that we can inspire and catalyze climate solutions globally. Thank you so much for allowing me to share a little bit about what Blue Planet Foundation is up to. And now I'm going to turn it over to our founder, Hank Rogers, who's going to share a little bit more about what he's been up to lately.
So last summer, we had a visit from the Secretary General of the IPU. The IPU is the Inter-Parliamentary Union. How many of you have ever heard of the IPU? I thought so. 178 member countries, 2 representatives per country, come to an assembly, come to Geneva or another assemblage twice a year, and they get 7 minutes each country, to talk about whatever they want to talk about. And the Secretary General heard about what we'd done in Hawaii, and he said, this is a formula for countries, and I'd like Hank Rogers, I wasn't even there, and he invited me to come to their assembly in Geneva. Now, the Inter-Parliamentary Union is it was formed in 1889 We're one of the very few countries that are not a member. We dropped out at some point, and I think we just don't like the voting system because a small country gets 10 and a big country gets 23 votes. So it's a little balanced towards the small countries. Anyway, I gave my 15-minute presentation. I showed the video you just saw. And that day, the Interparliamentary Union declared climate change to be an emergency. It was a small island states that had been proposing it, and they'd failed many years. And so they credit me for having made the change and having the IPU recognized. Now, the next day, they invited me to be in the room to actually work on the language. And so we went through the resolution line by line. And for example, he goes, we must maintain leadership in the area of fighting climate change. And I raised my hand, Mr. Rogers. And I said, you know, I'm in the business of fighting climate change. And before I came to Geneva, I never even heard of you guys. So if you're going to maintain leadership in something, you first have to take leadership. So I suggest you change the words, and they did. I have never felt so powerful as I felt in those days in Geneva, because all of my efforts in Hawaii are starting to appear on the world stage. And so the next, I thought, well, the problem is nobody's heard of the IPU, so the actual thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the United Nations. They invited me back to speak in Krakow to their gathering in COP24, and they invited me back in Doha. And Doha, I wasn't supposed to speak because I'd already spoken twice, and it turned out that the emergency this time was Mozambique. And so this is they gave me 4 minutes, so 4 minutes. This is my 4 minutes.
والآن الكلمة لبلو بلانت فاونديشن اتش رودرج.
My sincere condolences to the people who suffered the wrath of Mother Nature. This is unfortunately only the beginning, and we are still behaving as though nothing is really wrong. We know climate change is caused by coal, oil, and gas, yet we continue to increase production. We know we are destroying the world our children will have to live in. How dare we do this? Are our differences so great that we cannot agree to save our children? Is our selfishness so great that we sacrifice the lives of our children so we can drive a nicer car or watch a bigger television? Cyclone Idai in Africa is not an extreme weather event. It is the new normal. If we don't act decisively, the much more extreme storms of the future will make us wish for the extreme weather events of today. You parliamentarians are the chosen ones. Your people chose you to be their leader. So lead. The path to survival of our children is clear. We must stop producing more carbon dioxide than nature can absorb. We must change our way of life. We must use only renewable sources of energy. We must decide on a deadline by when we must complete this change. We must become 100% renewable by 2045. We have formed an alliance to achieve this goal. The Blue Planet Alliance will achieve 100% renewable energy by 2045. You and your governments must pledge to achieve 100% renewable energy in your country by 2045. Your children are asking you to help them. Be leaders. To join the alliance, all you have to do is get your country to pledge to achieve 100% renewable energy by 2045. This is the greatest battle humankind has ever fought. We will be victorious. We must. For our children. Thank you.
So since this happened in February, since then I've been traveling around the world speaking to dozens and dozens of NGOs to join the Alliance and to find out whether our goal of 100% renewable by 2045 is actually the right goal. And I've since expanded that goal. We have to include all the other things that make us sustainable. So our vision now is to create a world in which humanity and nature live in harmony. That is our goal. And we must tackle everything, including plastic in the ocean, garbage in the land, in the ocean, and everywhere. So we're creating an organization called the Blue Planet Foundation. It's going to be housed right next to the United Nations so that we work through the United Nations, and we're going to help the United Nations formulate their next 15 years of development goals. And what we are in now, which ends in 2030, is the Sustainable Development Goals. Where we have to go the next 15 years is the Regenerative Development Goals, because we have to put back what has been lost. We can't just stop where we are right now and expect things to get better. They won't. We have to take down the carbon. We have to take down all of our practices which are out of balance. So I invite you to join me, join us. Everyone must be part of this alliance. And I'm starting it, but I'm certainly not the one who's going to, how can I say, I need everyone's help. All the NGOs need to get together and have one voice instead of many small voices and living in silos. When the time comes, we all need to have one voice. And the youth are leading the way. We will find out more about them on Saturday. But they're working on becoming one voice, and so must we. We're the adults in the room. Hello. Please. Thank you very much.
Thank you.